Hey, everybody. This is Steve. We are about to cover live footage from the Bronx outside of AOC's office demanding Medicare for all. I'm going to take you straight to the streets right now.
Yeah. So, right here, we're at AOC's office in the Bronx. Look above. It doesn't say that it's AOC's office. It says it's the state senator for this district. So she doesn't even label it as her office.
I can barely hear him Sunday.
Lack of consistent services and presence within the district. So we organized this get together because she didn't have to move. That was so up to me. Second, 47 Medicare for Medicare. On top of that, our office is closed today, and it's highly likely that it's closed because we found out that this event was going to be happening in front of her office.
Here is Susan Sarandon. You want to say a word?
Yes, please get Susan.
Hold on. I'm going to go in the front. This is bad lighting.
That's fine. It's fine, Sunday. It's fine.
Okay.
Sunday, it's fine.
Okay.
Sunday, your finger's doing a Barney Rubble. Get closer. I don't hear you, Sunday. Take that speaker.
Wait, he can't hear it. He can't hear. So it's... But Susan, can you tell us what's going on today? Hi, I'm also from our Real Progressives. I actually saw you the other day at the action. I'd just like to know, what would you like? What would you expect to accomplish by this action?
Sunday, do you have a headset on? If you do, you might want to take it off. Because we can't hear her.
Well, I just want all the members of Congress and her to know that we're not going to hold them to what they said were their priorities, but also that we have their backs. If you do something that's great, that we don't have time for long-term plans, strategies that involve 10 years down the pipe when we're getting majority of the president. We have to do something now.
Sunday, we're having a very hard time hearing her, Sunday.
We can't hear?
No, we can only hear you. Do you have a headset on or something? If you do, you need to take
I do
it off.
not have a headset.
Okay. I can hear Chris fine, but I couldn't hear her.
Everybody get for all!
Okay.
Here for Medicare for all! Here for Medicare for all! You want it? We want? We want it?
Sunday, your thumb is doing a Barney Rubble. It's in front of the camera.
Woo! We're gonna get started.
Sunday, your thumb is in front of the camera.
Say again?
Your thumb is in front of the camera. There you go.
In more than 50 cities with no corporate media coverage, no support, and not a single representative, member of Congress even mentioned it until the actual day of the march. And I don't even think that any of them have still said anything on social media. So the fact that you all, everybody here contributed to organizing that, pulled that off, is really incredible. And you should all give yourself a round of applause. We have some people here who are true heroes and legends in this movement whose stories they've been courageous enough to share with all of us, with the country, with the world. Very personal stories, including people like Joy, Savage Joy, who spoke at the Force to Vote Town Hall, who emceed the action in DC. Yeah, woo! Give a shout out to Joy. Joy put together an amazing event in Washington, D.C. I was there. We had maybe 600 people, an incredible lineup of speakers. And the best part is knowing that we're just getting started. We're just getting started. So the first person that we thought it was only fitting to give it to speak and to tell her story and to say why this is so important is Savage Joy. So Joy, I'm going to hand it to you and thank you for everything that you're doing for this movement.
Be patient with me. It's hard to read here. I'm so nervous. I don't know why I still get nervous. But, the best.
I guess my first question is, do you guys remember when AOC protested Pelosi's office? Do you remember when she went in and she did a sit-in? And she was an activist? I interviewed her around that time. I believed in her so much. I was so excited. I was like, yes, Bernie is, inspiring all these progressives to come out and really fight for change. And I believe that she was. I believe that she genuinely wanted to. I really do. But unfortunately, something we've seen all too many times is when people get elected, things start to change. And I am done with accepting people telling me that I cannot be pissed because as a disabled person, people are not sticking to their promises. I'm done with it. Stop being ableist and privileged and telling me what I'm allowed to be pissed at. Stop. It's not fair. I've voted for people. I've donated to people. I canvassed for people. I did all of that, and then I'm getting shamed because all I say is I want you to live up to your promises. AOC has not even so much as tweeted Medicare for All in months. She has over 12 million followers. That has a huge, huge impact on people. Just one tweet. This is not about me and my comrades who organized all the marches. She doesn't have to tweet about those. That's fine. This was grassroots. We don't need support of anyone. We just welcome people who support us, period. So, Medicare for all at all, when we are literally watching eugenics of the poor as we speak, people are dying unnecessarily. And even in a pandemic, we cannot even get these people who say that they support Medicare for all to actually act on supporting Medicare for all. Lip service is not enough. That does not save lives. And people say, well, you know what, Joy, why don't you go protest Manchin or something like that? Here's why. If you pay for my plane ticket, I'll go. But also, Manchin and people like him never said they supported Medicare for all. That's why. Because the chance of trying to turn someone like him into suddenly supporting Medicare for all when he didn't even support it during his campaign is literally not feasible. So that's why. I am holding people accountable. I am not calling names. I am not insulting. I am saying you made a promise.
You signed documents when you joined Justice Democrats that said you would fight. You sat on my show and you told me that you were an activist, and I believed you. And you are doing not even the bare minimum of tweeting Medicare for all. That is unacceptable. Period. So, for those who don't know my story, about 18 months ago, I woke up with 85% of my eyesight gone. And I shared my story on Force the Vote town hall. And since then, I have been doxxed. I have been threatened. I have been told that people will call Social Security and tell them I'm lying about being blind. I have been harassed. I have been called every name in the book just for wanting people to have health care. This is all I want. And the fact that those of us who are fighting for this are being attacked like we are horrible people for wanting to help humanity is unjust, it's ugly, and it's inhumane. And I'm sick of watching so many people do it. You don't have to join us to stop disrespecting us. It is ableist as fuck to come at disabled people and say, now is not the time. How dare you tell me when the time is? Are you going to pay my thousands of dollars in medical bills? Are you going to tell me it's okay when I get medical bills for
See if you can get closer Sunday.
Because every 30 days I need eye treatment? Are you going to pay these? Are you going to help me when I'm dealing with the trauma of all of a sudden not even so much as being able to walk without falling and walking into doors and walls and needing to ask my husband for help to do the littlest things like plug in my phone charger? Don't tell me I don't have a right to be upset. That takes audacity. I have every right to be upset because people who told me they were going to fight for people like me are not. This is about holding people accountable. If you think that me saying AOC hasn't tweeted about Medicare for all in months is an insult and an attack, ask yourself why. Why are you offended by that? Tell her you're offended by that because it's a fact. Don't get mad at me. I'm just pointing it out. So, what I guess my main point is that we, the disabled people, deserve to have a life of dignity. We deserve respect. We deserve to be able to speak our minds and tell people that we are upset. We deserve to hold people accountable. We do not fucking need permission. You don't get to tell me what I can and cannot say and what I can be pissed about. It is my right. And you telling me different is ableist and privilege, and I'm done with it. That's it.
Sunday, see if you can get closer to the stage. See, you can get down on your knees and get closer.
Okay.
Get closer, Sunday, if you can. There you go.
Better?
As close as you can. Get closer
We have
even.
someone who's a real hero in our movement.
Make sure you say hi to Jordan for me, too.
Susan Sarandon, who spoke at the marches just on Saturday. And
Thank you, Susan.
Susan has taken all kinds of crap from the establishment and the media, for supporting Bernie Sanders, for supporting independent parties, but she's still here and she's showing up even at this event, and that takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts when you have the kind of profile that Susan does. And it's just an honor and a pleasure, Susan, to have you here speaking up for this cause in the way that you are. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I mean, I was really grateful that Russia became such an enemy because that got the pressure off of me. As you know, I was completely single-handedly defeated Hillary Clinton and was responsible for the Supreme Court. So I thank you all for still being on my side after all these horrible things that I did so powerfully. I don't know why they didn't run me as president because clearly I could have performed miracles in terms of running. You're right to be upset. You're right. It's very hard when people are especially saying things that are untrue, let alone unfair, to detach somewhat emotionally from that, especially when you're so vulnerable. But I think we have to know that the fight is what's important. I mean, as much shit as Bernie's getting, sometimes from people who don't understand the complexity of what actually he's accomplishing and what he was up against, it's hard to see him get in trouble with people that were his own followers. But having been around him so much through two campaigns, I have to say that even knowing what had happened during the primary, he went out on the road and went to more places than Hillary Clinton went to. And the way that he did that was because he has purpose. He has so little ego involved in this. It's all about purpose. And my hope is that the younger generations who are not enamored by a party name and are looking more at policy are going after things that have to do with policy and real systemic change and not just trying to keep one team ahead, no matter how Joe Manchin votes. The fact that he is considered a Democrat is just ridiculous. Right? So I'm from Jackson Heights. As a kid, I was in Jackson Heights. I was baptized in St. Joan of Arc Church, even though later on the nuns said I had an overabundance of original sin, so I guess it didn't go very far, that baptism. But so I was one of the first ones out of the gate for AOC before she was a rock star, and I did walk the streets of Jackson Heights, and I'm very pleased to say that, you know, she, against all that money, managed to survive and did that because of the inspiration of Bernie Sanders, who proved that that was possible. And we've seen a number of people that have waged campaigns without all that money. Right now, Nina Turner's trying to go up against the machine, and they're throwing millions of dollars of misleading TV ads and things against her because they can't have another progressive. They would do anything to make sure Nina doesn't get in. So it is an uphill battle. Now, I think that the squad, I think maybe in mind,
See if you can
they
get
think
closer
that
Sunday.
there's a certain way to fight from the inside that's different than actually making a strong stand or withholding their vote or some of the strategies that we talked about. I think that we have to hold a space for them, but at the same time tell them that we have their back. If they do something that is braver than what they've been doing, it's true that we don't know everything that's going on, but I think we don't have time really right now for a long-term strategy. We do not have 10 years until we get more progressives into the House and the Senate. There are too many people that are dying. We're going to have another COVID run soon. People that are getting evicted. We have people that don't have food. We have everybody falling through the cracks between opiates and all kinds of things that I saw all over. And it's quite clear that all the campaign promises were just bullshit. So As long as there's a Joe Manson or a parliamentarian, they have an excuse for not having things work out because they're not using in their imagination. They're not using courage to try something else. Maybe they only are in for one session. I don't know what's going to happen, but I can guarantee that it's going to be very difficult to get people to turn up for the midterms when they've gotten nothing specific. When the checks have been less and to fewer people, when there's no health care, and we would think that in the middle of a pandemic that made it so obvious that there's a huge schism in this country when so many people lost the insurance that they had and so many people didn't have insurance. What happens when that happens is something that happens to the entire country, not just the people that are unfortunate enough not to have the money to be covered.
Right.
So I'm here to say to the squad, and especially AOC, who, did make a lot of promises, that we still have faith in you, and we would like to see if you have a better plan than we've been able to see, please share it. If there's a pathway that you've got that we're not aware of, please share it, because we're losing hope here that you represent us. And it's so difficult for people that are independent to get elected in the first place, and then to see the very people that sponsored the bill not stand up for it. It's very disheartening. So there's no name calling going on here. We're just saying we are your constituents. We trust you. We want to trust you. We want to tell you, though, remember how much we're hurting. Remember how bad things are all over this country. And please do something outside the box. Please get creative. Do not play the game with Joe Biden, with Republicans, basically Joe Biden. Do not play the game that they've asked you to play, because really the only way things are going to change is from the bottom up. We've seen that the top does not care. They do not care. They have their lobbyists from the insurance and from pharmaceuticals, and that's the bottom line. So all we can do is know that you are leading the good fight. I mean, it matters how you live your life. It's not so much about an immediate result necessarily. It might take a long time, but what's important is that you try and that you show up. You have to show up, and you have to get other people to show up. And I fear that in the next midterms, it's going to be hard to get people to do that. So let's give them an alternative. Let's encourage our people that we got in that call themselves progressive to be brave. Let's tell them that we've got their backs if they do. And, it's great to have a rock star from New York that's there and has 5 million followers, but let's use those people to our advantage. And if they have a secret that they haven't shared with the long-term gain here, let's remind them that a lot of people don't have time for a long-term gain. A lot of people are on the brink now, and we need action. But because even if they took action now, it's going to be a while before we see it. So to put off a vote again and again and again, I can guarantee you that it definitely won't pass that way. At least if they put it down for a vote, we'll see who stands by it and who doesn't, even if it doesn't pass. But not bringing it to a vote for 30 years definitely won't get it to pass. So I don't see the logic of that. Anyway, thank you all for coming here, for standing in the heat. I appreciate all of it. Keep pushing, keep educating, because so many people just do not understand if they're watching mainstream media. I thank all the independent media that's here. Get them to tune into something else for a change so they can actually know what's going on. Especially if they're old like me, for some reason they don't seem to be able to discover any independent anything. So let's tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your babysitter, whatever. And let's try to get people with more information than what they're getting from CNN and those guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for that. We're finding out who the real fighters are here. This march is revealing the real fighters. All right. Thank you, Susan.
See if you can get closer Sunday.
Susan got to something that a lot of people online have been asking. Why are we here? Why are we in front of the White House? Right? Why aren't we in front of Joe Manchin's office? Well, they didn't even promise to fight for Medicare for all. AOC did. And she has 12 million Twitter followers. All the combined work over the past several months that I've seen from organizers, many of them here to put together these marches, if AOC had put out one tweet, the size of those marches, or God forbid, committed to organizing and activism. She ran not to be a politician, she ran to be an activist and an organizer who happened to be in office.
Right.
Imagine if she had committed herself to organizing the march. Imagine, why is it that people, I know when you get into Congress, you get a $174,000 salary, you get a pension after 5 years, you get the best health care in the world, but the rest of
Sunday,
us
your
are
thumb is
still
in the camera.
suffering.
What?
Your thumb was in front of the camera.
If AOC had actually committed, or the squad members, they have millions of followers, the ability to get press, attention, anytime, and they were supposed to be our extension of the movement in Congress, fighting to represent us. Not just accountable to the party leadership, to the corporate party leadership. What good does it do to have representatives in office who don't take corporate money if they're listening to the politicians that do? If she had committed herself to organizing, or the other squad members had committed themselves to organizing, to bringing people out to these marches, they could have been 10 times, 100 times bigger. That's the power they have. Injustice isn't just the misuse of power, it is failing to
See if you can
use
keep
their
that
power
camera
for
still
good.
Sunday. Get closer.
Martin Luther King said, at the end of the day, what we will remember is not what our enemies have said,
Your
but the
fingers in front
silence
of the
of our
camera again.
What has
Sunday,
the
your
squad
finger is
done?
in front of the
Let's
camera.
think about what the squad's done. Since they took out
Your finger's blocking the camera, Sunday. There you go.
right now, they have enough representatives in the House to dictate whether the Democratic Party is going to pass something. And you know what? Bernie Sanders, who I worked for in 2016 as the National Political Outreach Coordinator, he hasn't as many votes as Joe Manchin does. He could make the same demands. Why isn't he doing it? Why not? Why does it take people who are struggling to painstakingly pitch together events to fight for their rights rather than it being the people who we specifically sent there to do it? So let's look at what the squad and AOC in particular have done. They had an opportunity to actually force the vote for a floor vote on Medicare for all in December. All they had to do was leverage the vote for Speaker Pelosi. Imagine how popular that fight would have been if they'd taken it public. Guess what? Nancy Pelosi, one of the most disliked politicians in the entire country, is standing between you and not even Medicare for all, health care for everyone as a human right, which our country is the only major country on earth that doesn't have it, but she is standing in between you and even voting on that. AOC, when she was asked just a year ago, she was asked whether the Democratic Party, what is its ideological character? And she said, we don't, she actually went out of her way, and she said, we don't have a left party in this country. Right. The Democratic Party is a center conservative to a conservative party. And when she was and then she thought for a minute, how can I best illustrate that? And it was incredible. It was in the moment. She said, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. So this isn't a left party. This is a conservative party. That's how she chose to illustrate it. Well, guess what? A year later, she had the opportunity to be the one to get us that floor vote, and she didn't do it. What does that say about her according to her own classification? It says that something happens to you when you get into the Democratic Party. Nobody goes into the Democratic Party and comes out further left. It's systemic. It's structural. That's what we need to change. That's why we helped organize this as the Movement for a People's Party. That's why we participated in a big way in the marches for Medicare for All. That's why we were the only major national organization that helped organize Force the Vote. As much respect as I have for organizations like DSA, who have it in their own strategy manual to achieve Medicare for All through a floor vote, they didn't go for it. They weren't there in the end, and they weren't here now either. But guess what? For 5 years, Bernie Sanders set the benchmark. He planted the flag for this movement, and as the Democratic Party actually has for decades before him. And he used and elevated the idea of healthcare as a human right as the quintessential injustice in this country. He ran on Medicare for All first and foremost. Well, you can't plant that flag for 5 years. And then, when the Democrats take full majorities in the House, Senate, and the presidency, decide that you're going to walk away from that. We remember. It was a few
Sunday,
months ago.
can you get closer and put your finger out of the camera? Your finger's in front of the camera again.
Away from those promises. Remember when they told us push Biden left? Yeah, elect Biden, then we'll push him left. That's not what's happening. That's a classic tall tale. We hear it all the time. Obama ran on Medicare for All. Nancy Pelosi was for Medicare for All. Jerry Brown was for Medicare for All. The list goes on and on and on and on. Medicare for All is an election ploy that the Democrats have used for decades to hook people who are desperate, to get them voting for them long enough so that when they have a full majority again, they can abandon it as quickly as they campaigned on it. And what we have unfortunately discovered in recent months is that doesn't end with the politicians that are taking corporate money. It extends even to our friends in office, even to the squad members, unfortunately, who we want so much to believe in. I wanted very much to believe that they were going to force the vote. When AOC, Cori Bush withheld their votes, there was a glimmer of hope. Someone's going to fight for us. But they didn't. And they didn't do it on a $15 minimum wage either. And they didn't call Biden out when he abandoned even the public option. And then they gave him an A. Pramila Jayapal gave him an A, a grade A for abandoning even his moderate promises. Forget the progressive promises. The moderate promises. An A plus. An A plus. But AOC, she went even further. Pramila Jayapal said, I give him an A plus. AOC, she spoke for the whole movement. She said, progressives, he has exceeded progressives' expectations. For all of us, does that ring true with you? Has Biden exceeded your expectations?
Sunday, see if you can get stable, okay?
So why are you giving him cover, AOC? Why are you giving him cover as a squad? You are permitting them to move to the right. You are permitting them. And some of us don't have the luxury to allow that to happen.
Want a committee seat back.
They have so many mechanisms of influence. As E is saying, when you get into the Democratic Party, they have the committee assignments over you. You have so many incentives, so many structural incentives. Your personal incentives and your professional incentives are all of a sudden misaligned, and it moves people to the right. It does, and this is not a new phenomenon. This is decades old, and we need to learn from it. And that's what we're doing as the People's Party. I'm going to hand it over now to someone who just joined us, if she's ready. If she's ready to give them hell, like she's been giving them hell for the last 4 years, running against Joe Manchin, running against Even when she won her primary, the Democrats came in and worked against her. She was the general election candidate. Imagine if instead of Joe Manchin or selling more capital, we had Palatine swearing in office right now. Palatine Swearengin would be getting elected on the floor of the Senate. That's what we need. Paula, I'm going to hand it to you. It's just amazing working with you.
Can y'all hear me? Hey, everybody. There's a reason why I'm here in the Bronx. I'm a coal miner's daughter and granddaughter. I've suffered most of my life. I'm a grandmother now. I've lived most of my life in poverty. I know what it's like to go without a glass of clean water. I know what it's like to struggle and go hungry when the market for coal's down. I know what it's like as an activist to move into being a political candidate when I never wanted to be, but nobody would challenge Joe Manchin. But I'm going to tell you who stood with me. AOC, Cori Bush, which Cori Bush was out yesterday. She come out to the marches. I hope she signs our petition. But I stood shoulder to shoulder with these people because children in my state and here in the Bronx stood with us. The Bronx stood with West Virginia. Now I'm back here where she worked with me. I'm here to say I stand with the Bronx. We need Medicare for all. We need a living wage. We need roofs over our heads. We need something so basic as a clean glass of water. And people ask, why are you not asking Joe Manchin for this? We have for years. People have to get arrested in him and Shelley Capito's office to be heard. And this is a sound check, AOC. This is a sound check, sis. We stood with you. We need you to stand with us. You need to stand with the people that donated, worked hours and hours to get there, stood shoulder to shoulder with you and amplified your voice. There were people all over this country standing out in the streets still, begging for Medicare for all. And all it would took, God bless her for being out with Senator Turner trying to get her elected, but all it would have took is a tweet, an email, and just saying, I still stand for this, and sending people out and mobilizing and telling the people that she works with now to do their damn jobs. AOC, do your damn job. We got you there. We need help. People are dying in this country. It's not going to change if the people that we work so hard to get there, once they get there, they turn their back. We had a racist implosion with the Democratic Party in West Virginia. We have struggled. They've been in charge for years. Manchin is in charge of it. He's a total failure. We sent these people there to do this. I've left the Democratic Party because I could no longer put my head on my pillow at night and stand with people that will stand for blatant racism. That don't think that my grandchild deserves a clean glass of water in the future. We can't do this. This is a sound check to your job.
Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you, Paula Jean. We need people like Paula Jean to keep hope. We need to be able to believe in people and in movements and organizations to be able to continue doing this. I want to hand it over next. Zaina, if you're ready to say something. Zaina Day, who many of you know because she's been organizing with the People's Party for a few months now. Before that, at BNC for 4 years. Before that, as an investigative journalist. And she's brought an incredibly professional and capable work ethic to the People's Party. And
Well, I guess that ended the stream there, folks. Hopefully that you all got enough of that. I know the audio was a bit tough to hear, but I really hats off to Sunday. Folks, for those of you all who are wondering, we're here to cover the news. The news is happening right there. I know some people have feelings about MPP. We've had beef with them as well. But the point is we do stand for Medicare for all. And I think that we all can lock arms and fight for that together. In the meantime, I want to thank Sunday and those people who took the time to be in New York City. And I will thank you all for joining us, and we will talk to you all later. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody. We're out of here.